What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gaming HQ, and today I'll be giving my opinion on whether the medium is worth buying. So here's a question. Is the medium worth the original price of $50? The answer is no. It is not worth that much money for what you're getting, in my opinion at least. Even though I would give the game a 9 out of 10, which I will explain why in a second, I still didn't think it was worth the original retail price. The reason simply being is that focused psychological horror tend to not have much of a playability, which is what most gamers are looking for. And instead, there tend to be more focus on the story of the protagonist. Complex gaming mechanics, longevity, playability are all factors that the medium kind of missing. So maybe instead of the $50 that it was retailed at, I believe $30 to $40 would have been a great price simply thanks to its fantastically good written story. If it weren't for that, it would simply be a really good looking puzzle game, right? So even though I said the game is not really worth the original price, you most definitely should purchase it if you're a big fan of such titles. By the way, this opinion is simply targeted towards the majority of gamers. Alright, well now let's get to the fun part. Why did I give the game a 9 out of 10? Considering that this is a psychological horror game, this is easily one of the best of its kind. The best parts about this game were the subtle hints that were placed all over the game. The man with the umbrella, carving on the tree, the gloves, the watch, the repeated phrases.
It all starts with a dead girl. Has to be.
Give it to me. No, I'm just... okay. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Okay. It's late at night, okay? I get to say things that I'm not proud of. Okay. The clock that moved backwards, they were all parts that made this game a fantastic piece of art once all put together. Believe it or not, it took me longer to connect all the pieces of the puzzle that this game presented at the end than to actually play the game from start to finish. And I only understood the full story after my second playthrough while reading all the notes and finding all the hidden clues that will make sense once you have finished the game once. Now, of course, I won't say much as to not spoil the story for you in case you want to try it out, but it is amazing once you have experienced it. At least that was the case for me. By the way, here's the link to my explanation in case you would like to check it out. Story-wise, easily a 3 out of 2 for me. Yes, I gave it an extra point, and I will tell you why in just a second. Now, that extra point actually ties in a little bit with the gameplay. So moving on to that, it wasn't anything special, the gameplay. And it was just a bunch of mini games, puzzles. Of course, these puzzles were not randomly put together. In fact, some of these puzzles added more depth to the story. The only issue that I had doing these puzzles is that they were too easy, too simple. Some were also very predictable. I did really like a couple of puzzles though, especially towards the end. One of my favorite was finding the secret code to the bunker. And let's not forget about the water tank one and the conference room one, because they were really good too. These puzzles required some thinking, listening, reading some of the text that were presented to us, and putting all these context clues together. Gameplay category gets a 1 out of 2 for me simply because that's not enough. That being said though, these were a must in order to make the story for what it is, hence why the story category had a 3 out of 2. And I believe that if the puzzles were any harder, many players may get frustrated and forget about how these puzzles were supposed to enhance the story experience, instead of ruining it. Also, I will mention that I did not like the cinematic locked camera angles. That is just my opinion though, so it doesn't really affect the overall score. Alright, so let's move on to graphics and sound though. The graphics in this game were stunning. It perfectly portrayed the atmosphere of the environment we were in. The player could easily capture the tone and the mood just by the change in their current surrounding area. Even though the change in the environment were very unrealistic, it was perfectly executed and necessary for this particular genre. And the angry spirit was the perfect man for the job. I don't know how much money he was paid to put on such a stellar performance, And just for that, the graphic gets a full 1 point. Now the sound of all the characters in the game and the music behind all of these amazingly thrilling scenes were probably my second favorite part of the game. In fact, I didn't really dislike or skip any of the cutscenes of the game even in my second playthrough. How do I say this? They were short and sweet? This category is a solid 2 out of 2 for me, man. Okay, so now let's get to the not so good part, I guess. So, we have to be fair, right? Part of judging the game also comes down to its price. This game would easily be an 11 out of 10 if it was $25, right? I mean, it would practically be a steal at that point. That being said, it being retailed at $50 simply just doesn't make the game as attractive as it could have been. Keep in mind that $50 isn't something many gamers are willing to pay, especially considering that this game could be finished in just 8 or 9 hours at most. In my opinion, after buying the game and playing it for myself twice, I would say that this should have been a $40 game at best. By the way, if you disagree, let me know why in the comment section down below, as I'd be really interested to see what you guys have to say about it. I won't really give any more reasons since y'all understand what I mean. With all that in mind, the price category of the medium gets a 1 out of 2. Alright, so overall, this is a solid 2 out of 2 for a total of 9 out of 10 for me. Everything works perfectly together without interfering with one another. The music, dialogue, the environment, and the gameplay itself works perfectly to illustrate a really good story. It was Blooper's first big project, and I'm personally excited to see what else will they come up with in the future. And by the way, they also did something really interesting with the split screen. I'll be honest about this, I didn't really think I would enjoy it when I first saw it, but it actually wasn't bad at all. I actually think it brought a really interesting twist to some of the puzzles. For example, traveling between the spirit and the real world inside the dollhouse using the mirror. The out-of-body experiences in the spirit realm and the time clock were also very fun and interesting for me. I did touch briefly about the locked camera angles of the game, and even though I didn't really like it, I trust that that was the best choice for the game. It might have been a mess had they allowed the total control of our own characters. That being said, I really do like being in full control of my character's sight, as that makes it, I don't know, it just makes the game more realistic and I guess scarier. But overall, yeah, they did a fantastic job. Alright everyone, that was my review of the title of The Medium. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with any of the points that I made. Also, let me know if there is anything I forgot to mention. I would also love to hear what's your favorite part and character in the game. You probably already know mine just from this review. Also, I'm not really sure what game I should be playing next, so if you have an idea, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just announce it within the next couple days in the discussion tab. Hopefully that was helpful. Now make sure to have a sweet day and even sweeter nightmares. Later!